So the role that I had during this work term involved opening up an incorporated company called TGC Apex, and that was directly related to the community safety field. This company does COVID testing on site. It has a concierge service to which people can call and book an appointment, and then we go on site either at their workplace or their place of residence, and we can test them using a rapid antigen test. So either Abbott, Panabo, or Roche. Now, part of my role was also to problem solve certain situations. Like, for example, when we first received the test, we had an Abbott test kit, which comes in a pack of 25 and involves using one buffer solution among 25 individual tests. Now, this application is usually used in a pharmacy setting or a mass testing clinic. Now, I had to research, find out what Canada government approved testing kits there were that had individually packaged buffer solutions. And that's where I encountered Roche. Now, their tests were very simple, were very simple to use and straightforward, and it was basically the same thing as using an Abbott. Now, I had to consult with the pharmacists. I had two pharmacists going out and doing testing for me, and I had to make sure that they had all the tools that they needed in order to complete the testing without any hiccups. I also had to deal with marketing. I had to deal with the registration of the company, the co-op office, and dealing with interns. Now, along with that, I had to make sure that the costs weren't the costs didn't go up too high, so that this way I could get some sort of return on investment at the end of the term. As far as reflecting on the work term experience and which three career competencies or career ready competencies do I see as essential? I'd say communication was key. You have to communicate with your team, and that goes hand in hand with collaboration. Now, communicating with your team isn't just saying, "Hey, I need this done in this time frame," and that's it. Communicating with your team it involves communicating the goals as well and listening to your team, because a lot of the times when I didn't communicate what my objective was, I ended up having to jump through extra hoops, thinking to myself, wait, if they knew what I was trying to do, then we wouldn't have to do this in the first place. A large part of that was dealing with Direct Response Media Group, for example. It's a third party company that I dealt with as far as marketing. And when dealing with them, they didn't realize my goal was to get individuals. So instead, they approached me with a mass media marketing campaign. And that wasn't really what I needed. What I needed was a direct mail marketing campaign and narrowed down by postal code as well as household income. The reason why household income was important is I wanted to target specific individuals of higher income that would look towards getting tested if they had some sort of concierge service where they could come to either a place of work or place of residence. Another competency I would say was collaboration, and that's that was definitely key. I had to collaborate with the pharmacists, the co-op office, interns, medical professionals, and even at one point a couple lawyers, just to see the legalities of certain things. So I wanted to make sure that what we were doing was legal and that we were following our due diligence to make sure that we were following the appropriate steps. And I'd say, I'd say collaborating and communication definitely go hand in hand. And then another one would be learning and growth opportunities. So, you know, every time something didn't go as planned in the past, there was many times where things didn't go as planned, and I just kind of sat there and frustrated, and then just came out with a new plan, and then just carried on and ignored that plan altogether. This one, I was kind of stuck in my ways since I was forced to do something within the community safety field, and I had to have it be successful so that this way it wouldn't be a money pit for the entire co-op term. So as those roadblocks presented themselves, there was a lot of times where I had to adjust, and that adjustment allowed me to grow and learn from the mistakes that I made, and realize that not every plan has to follow through exactly as planned, and that you have to be open to adjustments. So, how did your experience during your work term help you strengthen your career ready competencies? I'd say my experience during the work term helped me by force. I had no choice but to adjust constantly and self evaluate. I often hear people say individuals are their worst critic, and for this reason, I think that had a lot to do with the reason why this was so successful for me, is because I was very critical of myself and critical of the things that I was doing, that I was able to quickly self-evaluate, look at what I did wrong, and then streamline the process and fix my mistakes. Now, along with that pressure, I had to take into consideration the monetary constraints. Right, there was only a certain amount of money that was allocated to investment, and I had to hit specific goals, and I had to get a return on that investment before hitting those limitations. And I think my previous work experience helped me, but I think what also helped me was the fact that, learning how to problem solve, learning how to deal with certain situations rather than just sitting there stressed and freaking out, essentially. I was able to look at the failures or low roadblocks. I was able to assess them openly and create plans on how to avoid them in the future. Now, the career ready competency that I have strengthened the most was definitely communication, and it has to do with the fact that I was never really a good communicator. I was good at communicating what I needed done and when I needed done by. I didn't really communicate why, and I was so used to just telling people just do it. So I think this term really helped me realize that it's very beneficial for individuals to know the goals and the objectives, so that this way they can work with me rather than just doing as I say. You know, as with anything, like I plan on continuing to improve my abilities with this competency, because as with anything, it's impossible to know everything. Even experts are often learning new things in their field. By increasing communication skills and using them to communicate clearly with others, I can learn more about my field in less time than if I were to try do it by trial and error. Now, in addition to that, by having open communication with others, it also gives them the ability to learn faster and provide more in-depth feedback. So as long as they know just as much, or around the same amount of stuff that I do about the field, then they're able to offer more in-depth feedback when asked a question or when assigned a task. So it definitely does help with problem solving rather than just tunnel visioning somebody into that specific task. Now, when I first started the program, I always hoped for a position within the criminal justice field or working in a court. Once I heard the courts weren't taking on interns due to COVID, I was pretty devastated. After doing this internship, I feel like I expanded my skill set, and I feel like I learned quite a bit about my field, and like I wasn't always in that field. I was never in the medical field prior to this. Um, I'm by no means a professional in my field right now, but I was able to learn about a broader spectrum of competencies to which will be useful in my future, hopefully. I do plan on continuing as the director of the company and plan on expanding my services, not limiting them within COVID testing and point of care services, but to the whole point of it is to also increase adaptability and also income. With COVID testing, we're unsure how long it's going to be here. So I think the next move from here on in is to expand on those services. So whether it be medically related, or if there's another aspect of the field that I want to grow, especially considering that there's 9 divisions to the company TGC Apex, anyways. So I think it's definitely going to be interesting in the future to see what's next, and I'm looking forward to potentially working with Sheridan in the near future to see if there's potential for future placements.